Welcome everybody to another edition of the Envision Me the Envision Me show. So the show where we come in, we talk about ways that we can empower and inspire you to go after your what's next. And everyone's always asking me, what's my what's next? May it be you want to move up the corporate ladder, or may it be that you want another job in the corporate world, or may it be that you want to be an entrepreneur. It's so much. But knowing that you can go after your what's next and let's rip away all those what ifs and I can't. How do we do that? I bring on amazing guests like I have tonight. I cannot wait till you can meet him and hear how he's doing it and things like that. But before we do that, I need everyone to do, you know how I start out. You have three assignments. And those of you who are new, it's simple, but it's really easy to do. The first one is it's Win Wednesday. What is your win for this evening? Drop it in the feed. Let me know. I do that because I like to give a shout out. I believe that we're moving to the hustle and the bustle. We do some great things in our lives, but we don't reward or praise ourselves. Well, you have a place to do it. So I'd love to hear your win for tonight. Number two, what are you drinking this evening? I know those some of you are just sitting and I'm into the drink kind of thing because I'm on my new health journey. So I'd love to hear what you're drinking. I am actually I'm drinking water because I didn't get my water in. I know, unbelievable. But yes, I'm drinking water. But I'd love to hear what you are drinking this evening. And then number three, go grab your pen, paper, your girlfriend and girlfriends, and get ready because some nuggets are going to be dropped. So important, so empowering, and so inspiring. So while you do that, I'm going to give you a few minutes, but let me go ahead and bring Andrew on. By the time he gets to talking a little bit about him, you should already have your pen and paper. So without further ado, let me bring Andrew to the stage. How you doing?
Hey, Pam, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here and looking forward to wherever we might take this conversation.
Absolutely. But before we go and dive in deep into our conversation, tell everybody just a little smidgen about you.
Yeah, wow, smidgen. This is where a talker like me is like, how do I fit it all in?
No.
The the best Cliff Notes version I'll try to put this into is the business I'm in is I pride myself on taking things that people often overcomplicate in their lives and finding ways of making them user friendly and easy to implement. And the most obvious example of that, at least from my business, that people know me for, is a book I wrote called The Last Law of Attraction Book You'll Ever Need to Read, where as someone who's been through that kind of journey of reading countless books and seeing maybe some unintentional contradictions and inconsistencies, decided, if I were first learning about this, what would I want to do? How would I want to phrase it so that it would click for me in a much easier way? And I've done that in other avenues, and that's from Mobile Bat, just making the thing that shouldn't be complicated easy and simple.
I like that. Okay, you make that sound easy and simple. I really like that a lot. So with that being said, I'm always talking to my audience who are the women that are over 45. And there's like, what do I do? And I give the example of where my team is made up of 90% women and their longevity on the team is 30 years or longer. And I'm always posing a question to my team, what is their what's next? And no one knows. So I'm thankful for you here so we can help them, give them some tips and some tricks on how they can at least start shifting their mind on thinking about the what's next. So
Mhm.
first and foremost, what led you to writing the book? You said, was it a personal experience of yourself that led you to write? I know you have interaction with the community of people such as myself saying, I need to help them. But is it something that you had came across that really made you want to write that book? And if so, what was that?
Well, I mean, my story around the law of attraction is of this like huge period of time of like misses until something finally hit and click. And again, I'll try to do the Cliff's Notes version. Uh, I learned about the law of attraction a long time ago. I think over 20 years at this point, and it was a thing where I was a young struggling entrepreneur and I was looking for the quote unquote secret to happiness and success. And law of
Mhm.
attraction was just like one of many modalities that I kind of dipped my toe in the pool of. And I found that, you know, it was very inconsistent. And it was only a couple years later where I actually figured out that it wasn't inconsistent. I was the inconsistent part of the,
Mhm.
and I had a really bad week, to be real, and I'll just be dramatic about it, where I lost what felt like was over 90% of my life, where within 3 days of deciding to close my business because it wasn't going anywhere, my girlfriend of 3 years broke up over text with me. So, I
Oh.
actually, and by the way, this is my, like, it was my fault. I was not giving the relationship what I should have because I was so desperately, keyword desperate, trying to get my business off the ground. I just had no balance. And it was one of those things where, like, here I closed to try to make it work. It was too little, too late. And I had to look in the mirror because I was like, okay, Andrew, you've wasted your 20s. You're going nowhere. Something has to change. Something has to be different. And I had this very weird, it's kind of like a combination of an epiphany and a moment of indignation where I was like, listen, looking back on all these years, the only thing that seemed to work was those law of attraction methods when I didn't stop doing them. If I kept doing, like, they would always work until I stopped. And I said to
Mm.
myself, you know what? I don't care what happens. I don't care when it happens, why it happens, how it happens. I don't care about any of that. I'm going to go all in with this thing once and for all. And when I say all in, I don't mean all day, every day, because I knew enough about myself and human nature in general that that was unsustainable. But what I could do was 5 or 10 minutes of, a manifesting method in terms of gratitude, scripting, visualization, whatever it might be. And I was not only was I not going to be deterred by failure this time around, I was not going to be deterred by success. And what I
Ooh.
mean by that is, I think anyone could relate to, like, they start a new diet or they go to the gym and things start to click and they tell themselves, you know what? I've been doing a good job. I can take a week off now. I can have
Mhm.
a cookie now. I can do all these things. And basically, it's a trick that their mind's playing on them, which we can go down that road a little later on the talk if you want, where they find an excuse to stop their progress. This time, nothing was going to stop me. And Pam, when I made that decision, I often say it's kind of like a movie because, like,
Mhm.
everything shifted. Like, within 2 weeks of that decision, not that I was perfect, but I was feeling way better than anyone with a broken heart had any business feeling. Within 3 months, I was in a way better, way healthier relationship with someone new and someone more aligned with me at that point. Within 4 months, I'm making more money than at any point in my life before then. And with 6 months, everything changed. I'm waking up happy, fulfilled. Everything's clicking for me. And it wasn't fun. Here's the funny part. Here I had everything laid out. It wasn't until 11 years later that I finally gave myself permission to write a book saying, I think it's time to put this down on paper in a way that I would have wanted from the beginning. So I would not have had to struggle for 4 years trying to sort it out. So I had that amazing experience and I've lived my life from that point ever since. But it wasn't until later on that I'm like, let me share this and let me give myself permission. That's the key thing here. Because
Mhm.
you said what's next. A key part about what's next for everyone listening is, it sounds like a cliche at this point, but you're going to have to give yourself permission, because I'm going to sound really controversial. I'm going to say the thing that a lot of people might not want to hear right now. You actually, everyone listening, what's next. But the only
Mhm.
reason you are not acknowledging it, and by the way, I don't blame you for this. I was guilty of this myself. You are not acknowledging what's next because you don't believe it's possible for you. Therefore, you don't want to give yourself permission of going down that road and facing the failure. But if anyone said, if you could wave a magic wand and you can make failure impossible, what would be next? Someone would have at least one answer, to say nothing of 5 or 6 answers.
Okay, so you just wrote the book for me because you talked literally about the first one that really resonated with me, and I can so connect to it, is giving myself permission. Up until and as you talked about 11 years, well, here I am just over 50, just now real like the light bulb has went off on what I need to do. And you're right, it was giving myself permission and accepting, not it's never failure, it's a learning lesson for me to grow so I can go to the next level, knowing that. Because I want to say that because I always used to say failure is a good thing. It is, but it also, I was tricking myself. For me, I was tricking myself saying failure is good, but it's, I was learning, I needed to learn on how to, when I faced that obstacle. And I was one of those also too, was like, it's okay, I'll take off a couple days, then I'll take off today and I'll go back tomorrow, I'll go back, and then it'll keep going and going, and here where I am is like, okay, where did I get here? So I'm glad that you talk about this because it's so essential. And I'm also glad you talked about, we all know what our what's next is. It's just our fears are getting, or our doubts or our unknowns are getting in our way. And so with that unknown getting in our way, and you talk about facing yourself in the mirror, but someone's like, you didn't drop all this, but what is one thing I can start right now, knowing that I have my what's next in me? How do I move forward on it?
Mhm. So I'll say another thing that's a bit controversial and something people might not want to hear. Let letting it be okay if it doesn't automatically unfold in a perfect way right away. And what I mean by that is, again, I'll go back to the example of my book. Yeah, I could have written it 11 years earlier, but to be honest, those 11 years of me living life and having experiences and learning how to communicate and speak in a different way with different people on different levels and different scenarios and different situations, I would have written a book with the same idea and philosophy, but I would not have written the same book with the same level of execution articulated in the way that was going to connect with people at the deep level that I hope it continues to connect with. And I say that because someone might have their what's next and they want it in 30 days. You might need 6 months. You might like, so for just an example, I know there's so many directions here, but if someone wants to be an entrepreneur and they want to do a VSL, a video sales letter, you might need to record a video sales letter right away. And you might need to digest it for 8, 10 weeks to
Mhm.
realize, you know what? I don't like this. I'm redoing it because it misses the whole thing of what I want to do. And you only could have had that insight by putting your stamp of approval and having it ready and having it done and then digesting it that way versus the mindset that we're in when we're like in the middle of crafting something. There's something about our brain that clicks when we
Yes.
think we've finished something versus when we think we're in the middle of something. So again, I know this is everyone wants to hear like, well, you're going to get it solved in 1 week. You can solve it in 1 week. You can be on your way in 1 week, but you have to give again yourself permission and be okay with the fact that you might not want it to happen in 1 week. You need to have a certain level of progression and unfolding because it again, it's easy for me to say it from the outside looking in, even though I've been through it. That's where the magic is. The magic is where you're kind of like stumbling your way. Like you look at anyone that's successful, anyone that's done their what next and has gone on to the next thing, they might not articulate the fears that they faced, the challenges that they went through, the naysayers, the doubts, one of which was them. But every person that you look at that's a huge success, whatever level, whether they're 20 or they're 60, there's an unspoken struggle that they had to go through. That they had to go through the slings and arrows. It's actually, I wouldn't call it a fun part of the process, but it's a part of the process where if you embrace its reality and you acknowledge it, you can actually leverage the usefulness out of it and make the most out of it and make yourself all the stronger because then when you've gone through a couple things, just to make my answer a little more long-winded, then you have a certain level of stamina and tenacity and insight and wisdom into the next move that's within the next thing because that next thing has so many next moves within it as you move up the ladder into whatever you're doing.
I so agree with you there. But then let's also go back. So as we talk about the mind shift, because all of this is all about the mind, right?
Mhm.
And the mind shifting of it. And yes, it does take time. But what are some techniques that I can start that what are some techniques on starting to work on the mind shifting? Because also as we are talking about doing each one of those, may it be like I said, talk about they're leaving the corporate world or they want to move up the corporate ladder or whatever it is, you're losing somebody, right? You're going to lose a relationship somewhere. And we as women are creatures of feelings. So how do I embrace this change? And what can I do to embrace this change to not allow this change to really shut me totally down and be like, okay, this is just too much and I'm not going to do it. What can we do?
Yeah. So okay, wow, so much there. Well, first of all, expect these doubts to creep in because then you're ready for them. Because when you understand that it's actually, and I'll give a really short version of this, there's a voice inside your head. There's a part of your mind that doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't care about your satisfaction. It doesn't care about your happiness. It only cares about your survival. And it's looking around right now at all the problems you might have. all the doubts, all the concerns. It's like, well, my person's alive right now, and I don't want to risk the status quo. So when you're making healthy changes, there's going to be a part of your mind in a misguided way of trying to protect you that is going to try to feed you those doubts. So the doubts should be expected. That way, when they come, they're not going to throw you off. But to answer more specifically of like what's a step they can do from a mindset perspective, I love the fact that you mentioned that women are really about feelings, because that's something that can be used. And because you're all about feelings, that means when you engage in any general, and I'll give you an example, but any general visualization manifestation method, your feelings will take care of themselves, where sometimes people struggle trying to elicit the feelings of having it.
Mhm.
Where if you can just say, okay, in this next step world, what are the details of my life? How would they unfold? What would they be if this is actually unfolding the way I would want it to? What's what does the business look like? How many clients am I getting? What's my day like? Really like break down what the details are going to be and envision those details. And if those are the things that you really want in your life, when you are envisioning these details, you're going to have positive feelings automatically as a result of that, since that's what you really want. And if they're negative, that means maybe that's not what you want. That you're going to be, again, if you believe on a universal level in terms of frequency, vibration, putting out that energy that's going to come back to you, it's
Yeah.
going to. But for those that don't believe in that, will just believe in the power of your subconscious mind, because by having those feelings that are being combined with these images that you're putting in your mind, visualizing these things are going to happen, you're basically programming your subconscious mind, which, spoiler alert, is really the most powerful supercomputer still known to humankind.
Mm.
It's I'll, if you were to, so taking an example of someone who wants a promotion at work, if they were to feed these images in their mind of getting a promotion, literally what their subconscious mind's going to do is it's going to take the wheel without them realizing it. And they're
Mhm.
going to find themselves coming up with amazing ideas that are going to make them look better. They're going to find themselves carrying themselves and holding themselves differently in meetings. They're going to find themselves responding better to their bosses, having a better energy, articulating things in a different way. They're not even going to know why. It's because they sent the instructions to their subconscious mind, and their subconscious mind knows the whole path. It knows the whole way to go, and it's going to guide them through there. It sounds almost ridiculous and almost magical, but that's the power. So if you believe in frequency, awesome. That's a huge part of it. But if you don't, your subconscious mind's going to take you there. And this all comes back to asking yourself, what would it look like? Okay, let me envision that. And let me breathe and feel good about that. Let me actually feel good. Let me not worry about the what ifs. Let me not worry about the when it's going to happen or the how it's going to happen, because those are distractions in this moment right now. In this moment right now, all I want to do is fill myself with the images and the pictures and the feelings of what this thing is, because I understand strategically that that's going to do its part right now, its work of getting me where I want to go.
I love it. And you're right about that. Look, like I said, you're talking to me. So I need to sit in your office for a couple hours so we can talk it through. But I really, and this is, but it's so important because again, we sit and and also to we get in a pattern of repeating in a mundu situation, in a mundu thinking. And this is really about let's expand ourselves but understand we're going to face those challenges, right? But the challenges is to grow with us. And also I know the challenges is as well as is our mind protecting us. Totally get it. But this is really informative for everyone to understand that it's all things are possible. You
Mm,
just have to believe in yourself and then manifest it in the manifestation. Now, let me say this because I want to be clear because I've had a couple people like saying manifestation is witchcraft,
mm,
and so I want to say it's not. I'm like what you say. I believe what I put out in the universe is hearing me and it's giving me back the energy that I'm giving it. So I believe it's nothing about witchcraft. I do want to say that because someone just texted me is like, well, that's all witchcraft. It's not witchcraft. And you did address it. Don't get me wrong. You did it. You said, whatever your being belief system is where it will get you to where you want to get to. But someone just said it was witchcraft. So I needed to address that. You
yeah.
have anything to say that too?
And if I may, and people are entitled to their opinion, I mean, I would say this, and I'm very careful in how I put, like, I use the language of like the universe in my law of attraction book, because that's what people understand. Just the way if I were writing a book on boxing, I would have uppercuts and right hooks. I would use that terminology because it makes sense. But
Yes.
for me, I would say this, certainly there's no witchcraft intention behind this, and there's no like for me, I'm not looking to control the universe. I'm more looking to open up pathways of possibility, really getting myself out of my own way. This thing
Mhm.
about for me, the visualization is basically a counteracting to what might otherwise be going in my mind in terms of doubts, in terms of reluctance, hesitation, reasons why it wouldn't work out that are actually built out of illusions, and all those things. It's really just putting myself and paving the way for a cleaner, easier path that invites or allows for these better possibilities. I am not speaking of something like, of purple energy,
Right.
coming out of thin air to drop money in my lap, but rather, me coming up with brilliant ideas out of the blue from within me to say, okay, Andrew, here's a cool book idea, or here's an interesting way to go about getting people to learn more about what you do. It's that kind of thing, the way I see it, in the hope that might address what that person was saying or what the question might be.
I think it did. I think they were saying thank you. So I just wanted to address it because it will come back again. But also too, as you talked about the visualization, do you let me ask you this, do you use vision boards as your visualization, or do you write it down, and do you write things down and you visualize it, or close your eyes? How do you visualize what you want to come?
Yeah, so I want to quickly preface by saying everybody has their own way, and just because, like, I'm the law of attraction author doesn't mean people should do the way I should do it. They should do. This is what I would strongly urge them: try different ways and do the one that feels good. The whole design of this, in my opinion, in terms of any manifesting method or manifestation technique, the goal is to feel good, feel positive emotion while thinking about what you have or what you want, or both. I used to use vision boards, and maybe one day I will again. But just the season I am in my life right now, as surprisingly as it might sound for someone who writes a book about a law of attraction, I don't, and I don't view it as something I've evolved past. It's just it's not my mode right now. So I think if somebody makes a vision board and looking at it doesn't give them negative feelings of like, oh my God, this is so big, how am I going to do it? But instead gets them excited and they're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I love the images they're feeding. Awesome. For me, my approach, like these days, while I still take my own medicine and I still make sure to be intentional about doing the methods that I write about in my book, the one thing that I do every single day is I pull out my phone, I open up the voice memos, and I record a message for a few minutes talking about all the things I'm grateful for in my life. Sometimes I talk about the things that are actually happening, and other times I might speak of future events that I want, but I'm speaking of them in the present tense. And then I'm going to take that message and I text it over to my friend across the country who does the same thing for me every single day. Sometimes I send it to him first, and that informs his message to me. Sometimes he sends his to me first, and then informs my message to him. But for me, again, it's a very easy, efficient way of feeling good while thinking about what I have or what I want or both. And what I'm doing basically is I'm scripting. Scripting is, most people say you're writing about your dream, you're writing the details of your dream life in the present tense as if it's already happened. But for me, even though it's very powerful, and even though studies will show that like the hand mind connection of writing something down is powerful, it is powerful. But for me, if I'm writing and my hand cramps up and there's pain, the pain negates whatever powerful effect. So maybe I'll type it instead. But I type all day, I respond to emails, maybe I get typos. I don't like that either. Well, I think people could probably tell by where we're at in the conversation. Andrew likes to talk. So what I'll do instead is I'll just speak it, because for me
Mhm.
that's natural and easy, and there's no cumbersome nature to it. So me saying it into the phone is my version of scripting, of creating, of speaking it, of my mind hearing it, of putting it out there, and just getting myself in the place of inviting more of that, like whatever that thing is that I want might be.
I love it. I love it. So, Andrew, as we believe it or not, our time is almost up. I can't believe this. I could talk. Look, I told you I could talk all day. I have my notes to keep me on track. Promise you, as you see me writing down, is to keep me focused. So, if someone wanted to, if they wanted to connect to you more, how can they do that?
I mean, I'm on Instagram, Andrew Cap Insta. My main website is andrewcap.com, and there's ways of contacting me, but also I invite people, listen, don't feel obligated to take money, pull money out of your wallet. Like, I have a YouTube channel with a bunch of free videos and things like that. I really just invite people to kind of like, dip their toe in the pool of what I offer, free stuff too. And if something resonates, awesome, use it, use methods that you learn. And if not, just all I would say is make sure that you feel good even for just 5 minutes every single day, because it sounds like such a small thing, but it is huge.
That's why I'm always doing every Wednesday. Come on here and ask everybody. I don't know if you heard you when you were in the back in the green room. I'm always asking everybody what's their win for the week, because we miss so much. Where society is moving so quickly, especially nowadays, that we miss we miss the celebration. And I'm always telling everybody, celebrate your wins. May they be big or small, or may you not have any, but you're thinking about it. That's still a win. I want people to start getting in habit of celebrating what they do, because what you do matters and it's important. So I'm with you there. While we're talking about the win, what is your win for this week?
So I don't have one win. Like, basically, again, it sounds so cliche, but my win is every single day I have a win. I find a win. Every single day there's some kind of good news. It might be dramatically awesome good news, or it might be subtle kind of sort of good news. Like this conversation that we're having right here that I love.
Mm,
Years back, I envisioned part of my quote unquote job being just getting to talk about what matters to me and
yeah.
being paid for it. And while technically I'm not being paid for this, I'm getting out there more for people. So like this right now, this moment is a manifestation of something I'd envisioned years ago. That is a huge win. It's a reminder to myself to appreciate the Andrew from all those years ago who
Mm.
worked so hard and also worked so smart by visualizing for 5 or 10 minutes every single day. That got me there. So my wins are all these types of things that happen every single day as I continue down this path.
I really like that. I love that. I really love though also too that you talk about you find a win every day. Do you ever find it hard to find a win though? As
No,
much
well,
as you're doing?
no, and here's why. I just know a win is coming, and here's the crazy part, Pam. Most of the time it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And maybe I should be worried, but I'm not worried. And here's the funny thing. Maybe a week later, I will learn that something happened that day that was a win for me.
Mm, okay.
Maybe someone bought, like, nothing happened that day, and then I don't not even a week later, 3 weeks later, I'll get an email. Hey Andrew, I bought your book on X date and I'd like to interview you. Oh, there was a win. I didn't read, like, every time there's a win, and I never put myself under pressure. It's never about like
Mhm.
forcing the win and looking for the win. It's more of like being in the place of ease that the win can be big or small. It can be obvious or it could happen later. And because I'm open and loose about it, things just unfold. And now my life is certainly not perfect, but I'm again being very strategic, I think, and very intelligent, very practical and pragmatic about this. In that my job is for myself and service to myself. It's just to make it easier for good things to happen, not even force them to happen.
I agree with you. One thing that I so agree with you there that my win, and this I know everyone's going to think it's off the radar or something, but I always had dreamt that I was going to expand the show. How I did the expanding the show was I always used to just interviewed women. Now have you're my third amazing man that come males that has come on here and has now stretched me to be excited about, oh my goodness, I have, and you're right, because and back in the day I would have never said, oh no, I'm not going to bring any men on, I'm going to just bring on women that and can empower. But to now see myself stretch and see outside of this is my win. I see it and here it is, and I'm excited for it, for this to be here at this point in the road. It's exciting. I wish I could go and I'll do it after I get off here. I'll be able to walk and jam to some music. But the excitement of seeing that what I thought in the past has come true to today is just amazing. So I so agree with you there.
That's awesome. And I can say as a man, I'm very happy, hoping that what I had to say today does serve your audience of women. I'm really appreciative of them being here and listening.
I'm excited if nobody else is, but I am excited. Before I let you go, Andrew, as you're doing all of this, what is one self-care routine that you do for what is something that you do for yourself as a self-care?
Um, well, the daily method is one thing, but to give you one more on top of that, I try to be more intentional just about health and nutrition for my body because I think, and I think especially like, people when we're looking like what's the next thing and we're under stress and what, what am I going to do now? And should I do it? In the middle of all that, beneath the surface, whether we feel like really healthy or we don't feel healthy, our bodies are working so hard in service to us in
True.
ways that we'll never appreciate. I know for me, like even as I acknowledge what my body does for me, I also understand that I will never truly appreciate how hard it works for me. So one self-care thing I do is I try to be more intentional about my nutrition. Just like if my body's going to fight that hard for me, I wanna kinda be in its corner and give it some fuel to fight with.
I understand that. Okay, I'm in the works. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm working on it. I am. That is something I'm working on, and I can attest to that. So that's I am working on it. I'm being very mindful. I too am being mindful of what I'm eating, when I'm eating, and things like that, and how it affects my body. I am starting to pay attention to it, but that is a journey that I'm working on. I'm in the works. That's what we'll say.
Mhm. You and me both. Hey, I had a cookie today also. Should I have? But it was a gift. It was a gift. I'm
Right.
like, "Well, I don't wanna throw out a gift."
No, I
So,
know that's right. You can't let that go. Cannot let that go at all.
rationalization. No, it's come on, I gotta eat this. It's a cookie.
So true, so true. And then what I always ask everybody, what is the one thing that you would like to leave the audience with as we get ready to close down our time together?
So, I realized this time went so fast, and we didn't talk too much about the law of attraction, so I wanna say, like, I'm not sure how many people are, like, on board with this or not on board, and here's what I'd say either way. I would advise people to take 5 minutes out every single day just to feel gratitude, not as a law of attraction exercise, but just for the sake of feeling good. And here's the cool thing. If I'm lying or deluded about this whole law of attraction thing and nothing happens and you don't get some magical manifestation in 30 days, guess what? The 5 minutes you took every day just to feel good, physiologically speaking alone, to say nothing of your mental health and everything else, it's a win in and of itself.
Mm,
So, regardless of any manifestations that you believe or don't believe or don't want might be on the end of this thing, whether it's 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, just taking 5 minutes out a day to feel gratitude where you otherwise would have been stressed out. You would have been worried about the state of the world. You would have been worried about politics. You would have been worried about your place in your business or office. You would have been worried about all these things. You're taking 5 minutes of a break just to feel good, to look back on your life, to say, oh my God, I'm so grateful for my heart that's been beating every single minute of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year, of every decade I've been alive. Oh my God, I'm so grateful for all my friends. I'm so grateful for the device that I'm listening to this podcast to that I use to do my banking and my shopping and dating apps and all the parts of my life that want to be complete. I'm grateful for all that. Be grateful because what a win that is where
mm.
you otherwise would have been stressed out and feeling bad about something.
I so agree with you there. Well, you know what? We're going to have you come back because I think the law of to talk about the law of attraction is a long conversation. I'm really into that. I'm really into, I believe what you put out, and if it's meant for you, it'll come back to you. And I believe that so heartily. And I think that's a conversation that we should have when you come back and we can talk just solely about law of attraction, and go from there.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. And thank you so much again, Pam, for having me. And thank you to everyone listening. I'm really grateful to you all.
And we too. So I'm gonna put you in the green room. Don't hang up yet, but I'll be right back with you. Oh my goodness, you guys. I have notes. Look, my paper, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can't see. I have notes on the back and on the front, but I wanted you to understand the importance of us working on our mindset so you can go after your what's next. We already talked about what the what's next looks like, but that's up to you. But one thing I really loved about what Andrew had talked about, where we talked about the law of attraction, doing it 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day. So next week, when I come back to you guys and ask you, what is your win? I hope to hear that you have spent 5 minutes a day on the law of attraction for where you're doing your gratitude. He even talked about, listen, 5 minutes of writing or 5 minutes of talking. I'm with Andrew. I love to talk. So I would be doing it on a phone. But if you're a person that loves to write, just do this 5 minutes. Take the time for you. Because you know there's only one you and we only get one life. So let's use it to our benefit. You know how we always do it here? We love to rock, empower, inspire you to go after your what's next. And you got to do it through your mind, through the mindset as well as manifesting what you want. Again, it's all in the power of what you speak is what you get. So I hope to see you guys next week when I have another amazing guest. We come out here, we're going to help you go after your vision to be made. Until then, everybody. Oh, one more thing. Before I forget, look, I'm always forgetting this and they got on me. I wanted to let you know that tonight's show is sponsored by Vision Made Magazine, the magazine that is put out on a quarterly basis. For those of you who are looking for more than the outside of the show, Vision Made Magazine has just dropped its new issue. If you're interested in getting a copy of that magazine, you can text me at 614-398-3925. It's 614-398-3925. And in the message, if you put magazine, I will get you that information. I believe in empowering and inspiring you to get you to your what's next. Till then, everyone, take care.